1 was a piece choreographed by Jessica Bartholomew in the undergraduate show that was put on last weekend. It had many aspects of Judson dance form, I found, specifically in one dancer who started out in the beginning moving solo, and then she kind of made her way to what would be stage left from the audience's perspective. In the moments that she was in stage left, she did daily activities, I guess you could classify them as. She would wave or do the acts of like thinking or pondering a thought, which were kind of the cliche, like looking off into the distance, but they were activities that you kind of would think of as everyday things that an untrained dancer could do. And so in that respect, part of the choreography was very Judson-like. However, the rest of the piece did not seem to have as much Judson influence as the single girl in the corner. She definitely was the one who personified this the most throughout the entire piece. The movement that is playing right now is definitely more unstructured, a little bit more fluid, has a more performance-based quality than the Judson would, in my perspective. The performance quality of this piece, I definitely feel was one of ease, I guess you could say. Throughout the entire performance, faces were neutral, the body and the movement did most of the speaking. However, in the end, as the finishing movements were made, the dancers went into a conversation. I feel that this definitely had a lasting effect on the audience, or from an audience's perspective, because it gave the piece a feeling of ease, a feeling as though the movement was daily activity, that it was something that these people went through every day, and it was almost normal. It definitely changed the piece, I feel. The conversation at the end changed the piece. I really appreciated the use of the limbs in this piece. They were very much so a driving force, which you don't see in a lot of pieces and you don't see a lot of dancers using. I feel that the use of the arms were a lot more rigid, a lot more structured than with the legs. When movement was initiated from the legs, it often incorporated the use of the torso and in a lot of parts the sternum. And so when a leg would initiate the movement, it kind of went throughout the body, whereas if it was just the arms initiating movement, a lot of times they would be isolated first and then something would happen. I felt like this was a very big concept that Jessica used throughout her choreography. And so in PMC, in the past few weeks, we've talked about Judson movement and its comparison to, say, So You Think You Can Dance type performance and movement, as well as Yvonne Rainer's No Manifesto. I feel that this piece definitely had sprinkles of Judson. There was definitely a basic physical structure that was held throughout the performance. However, there were definitely aspects that were also So You Think You Can Dance. There was some classical movement in there, as well as just different turning techniques, different leg movements, different different physicality that was used throughout that definitely gave it a balance in between the two. It wasn't Judson, but it also wasn't So You Think You Could Dance. It definitely had a unique quality that incorporated both, which I found very refreshing after trying to do both extremes in class. Overall, I thought the piece was very dynamic in that it had both of those elements, and anatomically it definitely showed the fundamental uses of your limbs and how that can drive a piece, which ironically goes back to the question that I was presented with after the last exam, and definitely kind of hit home in a sense that it helped me answer that question.